Let's bring in political consultant Michelle Backus and Republican strategist Luke Ball. Thank you both for coming on. Luke, to you first. I want to play a little bit more sound. This is what else the president had to say in his national address. Watch.
Tonight, after 11 months, our border is secure. Inflation is stopped. Wages are up. Prices are down. Our nation is strong. America is respected. And our country is back, stronger than ever before. We're poised for an economic boom, the likes of which the world has never seen.
You kind of see how this works, Luke. You know, after a while, you kind of have to tout your own record when the media is not about to tout it for you.
It was a Trump rally speech in the past tense. What do I mean by that? On the campaign trail, he said, I will do this, I will do that. And tonight he said, I have worked to fix the economy. I have ended wars. I have sealed the border. I think that blaming the president for any lingering economic problems at this point is like blaming the firefighter for the work the arsonist did. It's going to take a little bit of time to clean up. And I just have to think of the juxtaposition of when Biden wanted to address the nation and make his political arguments. He did it and called us threats to democracy, said MAGA was a threat to democracy, and had soldiers standing behind him as he pounded his fists on the podium. The president delivered cold, hard facts tonight, and I think the bully pulpit was well leveraged.
Yeah. Meantime, Michelle, you have Trump talking about the impact, and this was a big part of it, the affordability, the impact on your wallet.
Nobody can believe what's going on. Here are just some of the efforts that we have underway. You will see in your wallets and bank accounts in the new year. After years of record-setting falling incomes, our policies are boosting take-home pay at a historic pace.
Yeah, it's amazing because we're going to play you a little later in the media segment, Michelle, talk about how the media just could not wait to get back on and just try to tear them down as much as they could. But this is, I mean, this is a big deal to be able to go out there and say, hey, this is the plan.
And you know what's interesting? I was actually watching CNN after the speech with President Trump, and they highlighted his 2 terms, but they kept referencing, well, you know, this is his 2nd term in office and Americans are still hurting from the economy. They failed to mention that this was not his 2nd consecutive term. It's very clear that he inherited a disaster from Biden. I mean, we saw 9.1% inflation at one point under Biden. Things aren't going to magically get better, but you see President Trump is doing the steps, and you look at that polling you mentioned earlier, Trace, he's listening to the American people. President Trump is a businessman. He listens to people, and he's the president of the economy. So when you look at that, he wants to communicate directly with the American people. And the way he did it, not giving much context, allowed him to do that directly. And all cameras were on him, including every mainstream media camera.
Yeah. Meantime, I want to move off because we have what I think might be the soundbite of the night. This is the police chief in Minneapolis going after ICE, right? Taking a couple of swings at ICE and comparing illegal immigrants to Mary and Joseph from the Bible. Watch.
I cannot help but think of what is happening in our city today and how that echoes with how outsiders have been treated for thousands of years. How Mary and Joseph themselves were considered outsiders and forced to stay in a barn.
Heck, I read the Bible. I'm reading the Bible. I don't see any part in there, Luke. Don't remember any part in there where they came illegally and then committed more crimes when they got here.
Yeah, Mary and Joseph didn't break any federal laws going back to the city that they were originating from. In fact, they were following the law and returning for a census. And I just can't help but think that the Democrats want to use the most sacred and religious things to advance their political narrative, even if it's blasphemous. In fact, they were following Romans 13, which says, let every soul be subject unto the higher powers. That concept was followed by Mary and Joseph. That same spirit of the law is not being followed by the left, and it definitely was not being followed by the criminal illegals who came into our country against the law.
Chief was not taking questions after that, which made sense. Meantime, lastly, all of this, it seems to me, Michelle, is kind of part and parcel of these numbers we are getting from Quinnipiac. Put these up on the screen if you would, and Common Sense is also going to take a crack at this. Do you approve or disapprove of the way members of Congress are handling their jobs? Approve, Democrats 18%, Republicans 35%. Disapprove 73-58. And then you go to the next thing, Quinnipiac control. Would you want to see Republicans or Democrats win control of the House? For somehow their approval rating is at 18%, but you have people saying, oh, yeah, let's put the Democrats back in office. What do you think about this, Michelle?
I want more context in those polls, including, are we talking about specific members of Congress? Because I have some names I could lay out here, Trace. Look, at the end of the day, it's very clear that the Democrats are failing, and they're grasping at straws. That's why they're continually still trying to villainize Republicans and President Trump trying to diminish his accomplishments. And you have them working in tandem with some members in the mainstream media as well. At the end of the day, I will say this, Republicans need to keep their heads focused straight, because midterms are going to be a very serious problem if we aren't serious about it. But nonetheless, the Democrats don't have a winning issue right now. And that's what I really think they're going to struggle with in the next year.
Michelle, Luke, thank you both. Back with the Nightcap crew, Andrew Gruhl, Katie Zachariah, Luke Ball, Deborah Leah, and Cameron Hamilton. The Minneapolis police chief criticizing ICE enforcement by comparing illegal immigrants to biblical figures, Mary and Joseph, saying they were outsiders. What do you think about the comparison, Luke Ball?
You know, Trace, we don't know exactly how many wise men were a part of the Christmas story, but I can say with the utmost confidence that this guy was not one of them.
He was not among the wise men.